Welcome to the prayer room where we explore growing your faith in Jesus Christ, living surrendered and victorious. My name is Michelle and I am the host of the prayer room. So, what is the prayer room? The prayer room is a military Christian community. We realize that in the boardroom, in the living room, in the bedroom, there may be some people that aren't ready for a faith based environment and community, but the prayer room exists for those believers in the military community and the first responder community to come in and be encouraged and have a place to be prayed for and to be around like-minded people. I think this is really important. Now, my husband and I have been talking about this for a while, and I know my husband has been introducing this. Daniel Faust has been introducing this for quite a while. We've had couple little, things here and there for the prayer room, but I am officially coming over here. I had another YouTube channel, but I decided, you know what? I'm just going to put that aside and I'm going to come and put all of my effort here to encourage the military and first responder community. Anyone who is hungry, that is here, that wants to be encouraged. Now, what is going to be on the prayer room? Now, there's a couple things about me that really kind of direct this. Number one, I am a writer. I love to write books. Two of them back there, Elements of Surrender and Friendship, God's Plan Through History and Beyond, are the books I have authored. And I'm actually authoring more books right now, but I've slowed down a bit because I've been pulled into the season of writing devotionals and Bible studies. And I am actually doing this on the outside. I have a group I meet with weekly. I am getting ready to start a Bible study here at the base that I am at with my husband for the people here. And I'm going to bring some content to you guys here to encourage you in your faith. I love writing, I love teaching, and this is the perfect place for me to encourage people on here. We are also going to be having something called coffee chats. Coffee chats can be usually with me, or I love bringing people on talking about issues that Christians go through, issues with faith or questions, or talking about things in the Bible or Christians in the military. If you are somebody that is watching this and you are a believer and you're like, hey, I want to be on here, then go ahead, send us a message. Let's have a conversation. I would love to have you on here. It's much more fun to talk to somebody and have that dialogue than just sit here and talk to a camera. But I also love doing this too. So we are going to I've got a coffee chat for today and I'm excited to give this to you, but I wasn't excited to kind of go through the process of understanding what I was going to talk to you today about. And it came from what I viewed as a failure. And it was a failure, but I want to encourage somebody today through my pain and frustration that you are not a failure. You are not a failure. What you set out to do may not have worked, but that does not make you a failure. And I want to start this off with a story time. Now, something that marks these coffee chats is coffee. This is my coffee mug. I have lots of fun mugs I'll bring on here. And full disclosure, I am like an old soul. I have 1 cup of coffee a day in the morning because I wake up to spend time with the Lord about 4 a.m. But then I drink a pot of herbal tea over the entire day. It's great. I love it. So usually if it's this time of the day, you're never going to catch me with coffee on a coffee chat, but coffee, tea, all those kind of good things. I love coffee. I love tea. And I'm just happy to be here to drink something wonderful while I talk. I'm tasting my tea real quick. So, okay, story time. So, we just had Veterans Day, and I just want to say a late happy Veterans Day to all of the veterans that are watching this. Thank you for your service. Now, if anybody knows Daniel Faust, the other my other half that does the other rooms here, he is a veteran and we've been in the military since we've been married. He was actually in the military before we got married, and we've been married for almost 18 years. So definitely he has taken Veterans Day down to a science. He's like, you know what? I know all of the restaurants that give free the benefit and the gift of the free meal for Veterans Day. So normally I stay home because I'm not that cool. I'm like, you go do your own thing, run around, get all the free food. I'm just too tired to usually go. But my husband convinced me to go this year. So I'm up at like 8 o'clock at breakfast and with somebody, and they slept in. So it's just my husband and I, and then my daughter. And then we ended up at noon going to lunch with a good friend, and then brought another one of our kids. And then we at 5 o'clock we ended up going to Olive Garden. Now I'm not used to eating out this much. And it is just, it was ridiculous at Olive Garden because I was just so tired of eating out at that point. And I ordered the tour of Italy, and I ended up having a tour of nothing because I took a bite of the Alfredo and I was done. So I just hit a box, and then we just went home. And again, I had great conversation. We had some really good friends we had a nice little group of people. And I went home and threw it in the fridge, and it sat there for day one, sat there for day two. And then I ate a little bit of it and then gave the rest to my kids. And I don't think it even all got eaten. I used to work in the food industry, and I understand food safety, and I'm just not comfortable eating, pasta beyond 3 or 4 days. I don't like food poisoning. So anyways, I ordered more than I was, going to be able to eat. And then some of it got wasted. Now, the same thing happens normally at mealtime around my house because I'm not a huge dinner eater. So I usually take more than know I'm going to eat. But then, my kids are surrounding me. Like I have teenagers, and something about a teenager or even little kids, like they'll have their own food, but they don't want their food. They want your food. I mean, they do this when they're toddlers, and I'm convinced they do this when they're teenagers, and I have, 4 teenagers. So they'll stand around me and they know mama not going to finish her food. So let's stay here and wait for what's not eaten. And that's what they usually do. Now we have a snack drawer. We have a lot of resources for the kids, but they want what's mine. So I've just come to the conclusion that, what? They're going to hang out and they're going to take, what I took too much. Now, I'm going to transition this a little bit. When we go over and choose to do things, whether it be for the Lord or in business or in the military, this could be applied in so many different ways. We sometimes can take on more than we reasonably should. And because we didn't look at the practicality of it, we end up not being successful. And when we're not successful, we can call ourselves a failure. Other people can call us a failure. And we can really step into discouragement. Now, that is not a good place to be. Now, I want to give you guys an encouragement because you are not a failure. Now, when we fail, we usually fail a task. We usually fail something. Now, that you may have failed it, but you are not a failure. You are just somebody who tried to do something that did not work out, and you're stuck, trying to figure it out. I mean, it is very easy to, get into discouragement when we feel like we fail. Now, when we feel like we fail at something, we are motivated to quit. And that is not something we were ever called to do. Now, you might be asking, what motivated this coffee chat? And well, I will tell you, and I'm somebody that's going to be very transparent with you. Like, I'm so tired of seeing ministry people always going over and saying how great it is and how wonderful their life is. And they share all of the good things, but they don't share the things that aren't so good. And I think that's not great for the rest of us because we really can't learn from other people's mistakes and failures if they don't share them. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the curtain back a little bit about something, I have recently failed in, and it's this. On my other social media platforms, I was trying to do a 56-day countdown to the end of the year, going over how you can be strengthened for the new year for 2025. And it's all about surrender to the Lord. It's about giving him your time, giving him your talents, going over and just giving everything you have to the Lord so he can, take over and you can be the best version of you going forward. It's kind of like the New Year's resolutions, but just taking 2025 and from the best perspective possible. Well, the thing is that I did not calculate that, recording a video and doing content for 56 days straight might not be the best idea for me. Let me give you a little small perspective on why and the things I didn't account for when I was like, yes, I'm going to do this. Number one, I'm a wife and a mom, and my children need me, and my husband needs me. And time with family and time, doing things really doesn't afford the ability to sit in front of a camera all the time and just be attached and recording a lot of content. Sometimes you need to walk away and, be disconnected to, connect to your family. Number two, I am incredibly involved at my church. I am involved in two different ministries at the church. And I am incredibly busy. And some of those ministries bleed over into some weekly, time commitments to get things done. And number three, I am a faith filled believer who struggles with chronic illness. So I get migraines, I get postural tachycardic postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. It is a mouthful to say, but it's basically high heart rate, low blood pressure, autonomic disorder. So, and when I have good days, I have good days. And when I have bad days, I really do have bad days that I just cannot, I do not have the energy, or I'm in too much pain to record. So, it's all of those things. I did not count those in, and I took on more than I could, reasonably do. Now, the me from 10 years ago would have been like, I am done with this. I can't do social media. I can't do YouTube. I can't help with these things. I just am going to quit. And the me 10 years ago would have quit. But the me now, knowing the character of the Lord and knowing what, the Lord wants us to do, He never wants us to quit, knows that, I may have failed that objective, but I am not a failure. In fact, I believe that there's no person that's successful that does not have a road paved in failure. Thomas Edison would have never created the light bulb if he would have stopped at the first or second or even third try. I mean, there are people that are very talented today that did not do well in the beginning. Like when we are first learning how to do something, there's going to be failure after failure after failure. And the mark of somebody that is going to be successful is not the lack of failure. We're all going to have failures. It is the decision to get up and persevere through those failures. And as a believer, it is the ability to say, Lord, I failed. I missed it. Please redirect and reorient me somewhere where that the Lord will know that will be successful. That is part of the journey to grow and to be sanctified and to go over and just become who the best version and person that the Lord has for us. It's our road is paved by grace, not perfection. I'm going to bring up a scripture here, and it is Galatians 6:9. And this is really key. And I was drawn to this verse today as I was just praying and thinking of this through. And it says, let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. That is so key, that the key to your harvest, believer, my friend, the key to your success is not giving up. And I do believe sometimes the Lord engineers failures into our lives so we will persevere, so we will press through, because there is just such a beauty in seeing that reward, seeing that harvest after seasons where we have perceived failures. It is not the ability just to do things well all the time. It is the ability to get back up and persevere. The thing about perseverance is this: some people, use the word perseverance, persevere here, persevere there. But realistically, you don't even reach perseverance until you want to quit. So, because like when we're doing something in life, like there's always this line you cross over. You're like, yeah, I think I want to be done, and nothing motivates somebody to be done more than feeling like a failure, more than feeling discouraged. So I want to give you, as I close this out, 3 spiritual tactics to deal with how to handle failure and the right mindset to have towards this, because we need to predetermine how we are going to react to these things, so our emotions, so the flesh, so the enemy doesn't have a foothold to lie to us and say that we're a failure, and then we step into discouragement and we quit. Number one, no one is successful the first time around. Absolutely no one. I remember being a chef in training, and long time ago. I loved cooking. I still do. I don't, I'm not a chef anymore, but that training was fantastic. And I remember every time we would learn something new, we would make a burner. So the first one we'd ever make, it was horrible. It burnt. It was under seasoned, over seasoned, because we didn't know what we were doing, and every single attempt after that first one got better. So you're not going to be successful the first time around. Don't expect to be like in that. I mean, that's almost a guaranteed fail the first time around. Understand that you get up, you persevere, and the times that are ahead are going to be more successful because you are still learning. Number two, you need to give yourself grace. Again, God gives you grace. His mercy is new every morning, and He is not expecting perfection. I heard it said once that when God, gave you your gifts, when He planned your life, He planned everything you would ever do, accounting for every mistake you would ever make, everything that you think is a failure that threatens to, push you to quit. The Lord sees that and He knows that. And that's not a license for you to quit. That is a license for you to get back up and keep trying. And the last one is choose perseverance and get back up. Perseverance is a choice. It is something you have to choose. If we sit passively, quitting just happens naturally. No, no, no. Like, to be successful, there is always a fight, there is always a battle, there is always a learning curve, and your victory is on the other side of perseverance. I wish I could tell you that there was an easy way to live life and be victorious in Christ. Now, like it's all His work, and we have the cross, and we have salvation, and we have the processes that He has allowed us to have. But we have a responsibility of response, of sanctification, and obedience to the Lord, and surrender. And part of that is getting back up when we feel like we've failed, and being faithful what the Lord has called us to do. It's not the fact that we're not equipped to do what we're doing. It's the fact that, we're always going to be learning and growing, and especially in the beginning, failing an awful lot. But just know you are not a failure. You never were a failure. You're just a person learning and growing. And the best way to grow is to surrender it to the Lord and say, Lord, it didn't work out this time. What I did utterly failed, but I'm not a failure. Please redirect me and reorient me for where you have me to go. So that is what I have for you on the coffee chat today. I will be back with another episode of the prayer room and another coffee chat. If you would like to connect with me or Daniel, send us a DM or put a comment down below. And until next time, we'll be blessed, and I'll see you next time. All right. Bye.